Hello and welcome back to my scrap room. My name is Jennifer Perry and I am an independent consultant with Close to My Heart. Today we are going to be working out of the Holiday Expressions catalog. Holiday Expressions is live from September 1st until December 31st, 2018. And we are going to be working with the Hugs for You card making workshop. Now if you notice, the card workshop comes with everything you need to make 12 complete cards. Now if you do the math with that, that is $1.75 per card. You can't beat that. I'm going to show you how to make these gorgeous cards. But today we're going to do just the cutting, and then I will make a separate card for the assembly. So that if you don't need the cutting part, you can skip ahead, but if you do need the cutting part, you can follow along with us and I'll show you what to do. So every kit, and I've already pulled this out because I was reading it, every kit comes with the cutting guide, the exclusive stamp, which you can't see because I've got the foam in front of it on accident, the twine, the card bases, and the card envelopes. Now the only thing I've done is I went ahead and put my name on the back of all of my cards so that I don't forget that step. We're going to just set all of this aside real fast. I also have two trays off to the side of me. One says card 1, one says card 2. And as I do my cuts, if it's a card 1 cut, I'll put it in the card 1 slot. If it's card 2, I'll put it in the card 2 slot. So here is our cutting guide, and as you can see, it is very well thought out. The first thing that it says to do is to cut the zip strips off, and we will be needing the zip strips. I need my eyeballs, and my cutter's upside down. I'll turn my inks sideways for a second so I've got a little more room. So we're going to cut both zip strips off and save these because we will be using them. So we need our zip strips cut into 2 1/4, and we need 6 of these. So we're going to make this cut 6 times. I'm going to double check myself. Yes, 2 1/4. So you can see, so this is 2. 1, 2, 3, 4 is 2 1/4. And we're going to make this cut 6 times. That is the last cut. This is going to be scraps, and these are, it says 2E, so these are for card 2. So I'm going to put them in the card 2 slot. Then this is going to be scraps, so we can set this aside. Our next cut is going to be the polka dots. And we're first going to cut, because we need 6 cuts, you can see we need 6 cuts. And the first cut's going to be at 3 inches, so we're going to make that 3 times. So there's 3 inches. And this last one should be 3 inches also, and it is. So these 3 right here are going to be 5 1/4. because we already did the 3-inch cut. So these three are we're going to do this cut 6 times. So 5 1/4, 6 times. So there's 5. 1, 2, 3, 4 is 1/4. And this little end piece of scrap. And it says that all of these cuts are 2A, so they're going to go in my 2 pile. Now we have this left over, and this is, they want it to be on this side. It's already cut at 3, but we need 2 cuts at 4 1/4. So 4 1/4. And it says these are also for card 2. So we're going to put those in card 2. Now this next cut, this is considered the front. And our first cut is going to be at 4 1/4. Because if you notice, it's a little bit wider than the 3, so it's going to be 4 1/4. And they want the flowers sideways. So 4, 4 1/4. How many of these am I doing? Just one? Yep, just one. And then it's going to be cut at 3 inches. 1, 2, 3, and that's already it. And this is going to be the rest of this cut. So you had 4 over here, 2 over here, so that's 6. That goes in the 2 pile. This next cut is going to be right here, and it's going to be the back side, so we're going to flip it over. Our first cut's going to be 6 1/4. So 6, 1, 2, 3, 4. And this is scraps. Now we're going to turn it. I got to move my trimmer. And our next cut is going to be 3/4. And we're making, I got to count this out, hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We're making 12 cuts. So this is 3/4 because it's just before the 1. Okay, so that's 5. These are going to go in the 1 pile. That's 5. These are going to go in the 1 pile, and I need 2 more. And this is scraps. So now we're going to turn the paper over, and we're going to go find our sugar plum cardstock. And we're going to be working with the darker side first. See, there's two different sides, so we're going to be doing the darker side first. And our first cut is going to be 3 1/4, and we're going to do that 3 times. So there's 3 1/4, 3 1/4, 3 1/4. Save this side. We're going to turn these horizontally, and now we're going to do 4 1/2. So 4 1/4, 4 1/2. This is scraps. And this is scraps. Okay, this is going to go into slot 2 or tray 2. Now with the spare piece, it's going to be two 1/4 by 3/4, and we're going to cut 12 again. So we need to cut it to 2 1/4, and it should be right at 2 1/4 already. It is. So now we're going to do another cut of 3/4, and we're going to do 12 of these. And this is going to be for card 1. Oh, I think I know what they're doing. Okay. That works. So 3/4. So there's 6. This is scraps, and this is 6 again. Our next is going to be the saffron, and our first cut is going to be at 3 inches, so we're going to cut that one twice. This entire sheet is scraps. I need a scrap place. My little scrap place is a little too small. Okay, down there. And then we're going to turn it, and we're going to do 3 cuts at 3 1/2. 1, 2, 3. This is scrap. 1, 2, and 3. And this goes into the 1 slot, or the card 1 slot. And these little pieces here, 2.5, goodness gracious, oh, this way, 2.5, my blade just fell out, by 1/4, holy, okay, let me show you. You can work on this side. This first little notch is 1/4 on this side. And sometimes when you're working with these teeny tiny papers, it's easier to go that direction. And we need this 6 times. That's a little too small. I'm going on this side. It says it can be done. That's too small for my fingers. So I'm going to cut that down to 2.5, and I'm going to go this direction. This was a scrap piece. I might as well not stress myself out with trying to cut a piece that's obviously too small for my hand. So this also goes into 2D, or the 2 slot. Now for our white daisy cardstock. So this first cut on the white daisy is going to be 2 3/4. And we need 2 of those. So this is 2 1/4, 1/2, 3/4. Two 1/4, 1/2, 3/4. And then we're going to cut these next 2 at 2.5. And we're going to use all of this, but just set it aside at the moment. So for these 2 that we cut that are at 2 3/4, we're going to turn it sideways and do 3 1/4. 1, 2, 3. This is scrap. 1, 2, 3. Okay, this goes into tray 1. This is scrap. Okay, so for this next section, let me bring it in some. You're going to need a few supplies. The first one you're going to need is some ink. You need saffron, charcoal, and sugar plum. You need thin cuts, which I'll show you those in just a moment. And then you need your blocks. Now I want to take a moment and show you the difference between a close to my heart block and a competitor's block. This is a 4x4 block with close to my heart. This is a, I believe, 6x3, 6x3.5 from a competitor's block. And the first thing I want you to notice, if I can hold it, is the width difference between these 2 blocks. This one is considerably skinnier, which you may go, hey, I like that. It doesn't take up as much room. But when you're stamping, it gives you less purchase to hold the stamp. So you're kind of holding the stamp by your fingerprints. If you look, my finger is dangling off of this one, but it sits nicely in this one. There's a little channel there that my finger just sits quite nicely into, along with these. So it gives you something to hang on to. On this one, my finger is hanging off it quite a bit. So they're both acrylic. They're both very nice blocks, but the difference between Close to My Heart and a competitor's block is this one is, and I do not know where this one came from. A customer left it. I tried to contact her and say, hey, you left your block. She never came back and got it. So this is now my sample block. This one does have grid lines. I like the grid lines, but it's considerably thinner. Therefore, it's harder to hold, or at least for me, it's harder to hold. The other thing with blocks is at first you may be thinking, man, they're quite an investment. They're kind of expensive. But I have blocks in my collection that I have had from day one of being a consultant. And next month will be 14 years. So I've got blocks in my collection that still look this good. I think I've got one that I made cloudy. And that was purely my fault. But 14-year-old blocks, and I've never had to purchase any more blocks. They're still as pristine as day one. So yes, your blocks are an investment, but it's unless you lose one, it's the last time you have to order one. So these are your blocks. And then let me show you the thin cuts. We're going to be making some thin cuts. We're going to make 3 different cuts, which I may show you. So let me show you the thin cuts. We're going to be making 3 different cuts, which I'm going to show you the first cut real time, and then I'll speed it up so you're not having to sit for 40 forevers. But this is my Thin Cuts binder. It is one of our Everyday Life albums with Close to My Heart. And on the inside, I just took our 4x6 page protectors and put in the binder, and then I just took a label maker with the actual item number, and I just slid them in. The only thing I had to do to the magnetic sheet is just trim a tiny hair off the magnetic strip to make it fit into here. And then I've got all of my thin cuts in one spot, which makes it nice when you're going to a retreat, because you don't have all those extra little envelopes. You can just grab one binder and you've got everything you own with you. So the first one we're going to do, actually we're going to do the circles first. I have a couple of things from other companies that are specialized. Like these are gift card templates. These are stitched before Close to My Heart came out with stitch ties. I got a little impatient. And then this is from Mama Elephant. It is a die cut window for putting on the front of the cards and putting little things inside. I've never seen one like that before, and I had to have it. I can tell ours apart because I always put the item number on the Close to My Heart stuff. But I really do not have much that's not close to my heart. Because the one thing that I really like, and I'll show you, this is a fawn lawn stitched rectangle before we had our stitched. And if you notice, they're connected with metal connectors. You have to have 10 snips to get these apart. That little metal piece starts flying, and if you walk around barefoot and that ends up in your foot, that's kind of a hazard. Close to My Hearts are not connected. They come totally separated, so you're not having to unconnect them before you can use them and then have to stop and vacuum up little metal pieces. So I really, really like that. I think at the moment we do not have rectangles, but when we do, I'll be ordering the rectangles too. So we're going to start off with the circles. We need the 2 1/4 circle and the 1 1/4 circle, which I think is this one. So let's start off with this one. And I'm going to grab the other one so I can put my book away. And then I made a discovery. I discovered that this little heart right here matches the stamp. Got that one. Of course, now that I'm trying to do this with you, I can't find it. There it is. Nope. There we go. So this little heart right here matches one of the stamp sets that we're going to be using. So instead of trying to fussy cut it, I'm not going to fussy cut it. I'm just going to thin cut it. So we can set this aside. And then we're going to pull up my Cricut or my Cuttlebug. We're going to pull over the Cuttlebug. I'm going to set this one aside real fast. I don't need it quite yet. Okay, that's stuck down to the table. I hope that's where I want it. So I've got my plate in. I'm going to scoot this over. That's not where I want it. So we're going to put our base plate down, our C plate down, and a circle. And then we're going to put our B plate on top of it. If I get my finger out of it. Really? Come on. Oh, I was going the wrong direction. And there it is, and it's all stitched already. So I'm going to do 5 more of these. So this is all 6 of the little circles. We're going to put those in 2 also. And then I'm going to set this aside for just a second because I want to show you a trick. We are going to we're going to stamp the hearts first. And then we're going to die cut the hearts. And I'll show you that trick. So we're going to use sugar plum first. And the heart. Do a little test stamp. Oh, I like it. Okay. So we're going to do 6 in sugar plum. This is our stamp cleaner. I just put it into a separate bottle so I can find it easier on my desk. And I have a bad habit of whenever I play with my stamps, I spray them and then I wipe them off on my jeans. So I have a rag just on my lap so that I can continue my bad habit, but I don't ruin my jeans. So then we're going to take the saffron. Like that. I don't know if I like that. We're gonna play with this one. Let's see. That might be better. They want you to do, oh, that's going to be a cute one. They want you to do the wreck and roll or the rock and roll method, but I don't want to muddy up my stamps, so I was goofing off with it a little bit, but let's see how that turns out. You never know until you never know, and you know what? If I don't like it, it's just paper. I can restamp it. So I'm going to leave that there, put you away. This is the beauty with scrapbooking. If you don't like it, it's just paper. Okay, he turned out cute. That's a keeper. Well, looky there. Okay, I like when that happy surprise happens. Not only did I get my 6 original hearts that I need for the card, but I ended up with 6 spares because I didn't realize that this die cut a big and a little, so that's a bonus. So I'm going to put these in my little embellishments envelope, and they will get used for something someday. So let me clear the decks and then we will get started on assembly. Thank you.